And we're live.
All right, so we are group 9. We'll be presenting Meta for our project today. I'll go through a quick intro on Meta and how we're going to be presenting it in terms of this project. All right, so our overall objective is to take a close look at how Meta is leveraging advanced analytics to drive value across pricing, finance, marketing, and customer engagement. Our overall focus areas are pricing and financing, marketing and customer analytics, and value realization. And then our approach covers descriptive, predictive, and prescriptive analytics at a scale. And then some key considerations we're looking at is data requirements, resource needs, value creation, and managerial and ethical implications. I will hand it off to finance.
So, Meta's core revenue comes from advertising, but the company is also investing in consumer hardware and immersive platforms like the Meta Quest. That makes pricing a direct lever for adoption and installed base growth. Because the Quest is a high ticket product, demand is highly sensitive to pricing, promotions, and bundle structure. Financing adds another lever by lowering the upfront barrier, improving conversion without relying only on deep discounts that can hurt margins. When pricing and financing are managed together, Meta can then grow the ecosystem while keeping profitability and operations stable. And it also supports planning by improving demand predictability for inventory, promotions, and capacity decisions. Next slide. This works as a closed loop system. First, Meta measures how offers perform by connecting pricing and promotion data to the purchase funnel, returns, and financing usage. That shows where performance is coming from and where friction exists. Next, Meta predicts what will happen if prices or financing terms change, including how customers shift between versions or bundles and how financing affects conversion and risk outcomes. Then prescriptive analytics chooses the best action under constraints like margin floors, inventory protection, limited price changes, and compliance requirements. And finally, results are validated through controlled rollouts where possible and monitored after launch so the models stay accurate as conditions change. Next slide. To execute this pricing and financing analytics approach, Meta needs four things: data systems, people, and controls. First is data that connects what offers was shown to what the customer did, including transactions, funnel behavior, returns, and financing outcomes. That dataset also needs cost and inventory inputs, so recommendations reflect margin and supply realities, not just conversion. Second is systems that can store and move the data reliably, including a centralized warehouse, event pipelines for near real-time funnel signals, and MLOPs monitoring so models stay accurate as conditions change. Third is people. The pricing and finance team would define objectives and guardrails. Data and ML teams build the models. Product teams implement offers in the storefront experience, and legal and privacy teams ensure the work aligns with policy and regulation. Finally, controls make it safe to scale. That includes a clear approval workflow for price changes, audit trails for decisions, and ongoing checks for compliance, fairness, and unexpected performance shifts after rollout. Next.
In addition to direct financial and operational gains, a significant source of value realization for Meta lies in the continued accumulation and refinement of data across its platforms, products, and data infrastructure. As Meta expands its advertising systems, hardware products, and global data centers, each interaction contributes to richer data sets that improve the accuracy of analytics models over time. This expanding data foundation enhances Meta's ability to personalize experiences, forecast demand, optimize pricing, and evaluate long-term customer value with greater precision. As models are trained on larger and more diverse data sets, decision-making becomes more reliable and adaptive, reducing uncertainty across both advertising and hardware investments. In this sense, data itself becomes a strategic asset, enabling continuous learning, reinforcing Meta's competitive advantage, and supporting sustained value creation across its ecosystem. Prior research on data-driven firms consistently finds that organizations that integrate analytics into pricing and decision-making achieve productivity and profitability advantage of approximately 5 to 6% more over peers. At meta scale, even modest improvements in their analytical tools of this magnitude translate into material financial impact across all revenue sources. The use of advanced analytics in Meta's pricing and finance functions raises important managerial and ethical considerations. Because these systems directly influence economic outcomes such as pricing levels, finance access, and consumer affordability. Because pricing and financing models rely on user-generated behavioral and transactional data, ethical concerns arise around data asymmetry, where users have limited visibility into how their data affects prices or payment terms. Algorithms bias is especially consequential in this context, as biased models can lead to unequal pricing or financing outcomes across users or regions, making ongoing audits and fairness testing essential. From a managerial perspective, these risks require strong governance structures, including clear model ownership, approval workflows, and close coordination between finance, analytics, legal, and compliance teams. Ultimately, responsible pricing analytics is not just about revenue optimization, but about maintaining fairness, regulatory compliance, and long-term consumer trust while supporting sustainable financial value creation.
As Meta continues to scale, analytics has become central to maintaining market dominance and user engagement, but they also raise serious concerns around privacy bias and accountability. Meta's core business strategy is built on predictive and prescriptive analytics. Predictive analytics are used to anticipate user behavior, such as forecasting retention rates, click-through probabilities, and ad responsiveness. Prescriptive analytics goes a step further by actively shaping outcomes, most notably through personalized newsfeed rankings and algorithm content moderation. These systems are highly effective at driving engagement, but they also operate largely behind the scenes, raising questions about transparency and ethical responsibility. While these analytics improve user experience and advertising efficacy, they present profound ethical challenges. Key concerns include algorithmic bias and lack of transparency in automated decision making, along with limited accountability when systems cause harm. As these algorithms increasingly influence what content users see and interact with, Meta faces growing pressure to ensure that these systems operate fairly and responsibly. The sheer volume of user data creates constant privacy and security risks. These risks were highlighted in the Facebook Cambridge Analytica scandal, which exposed how user data could be misused at scale. This event underscored the need for stronger ethical standards that go beyond the minimum legal compliance. A major ethical challenge for Meta is informed consent. With billions of users, traditional models of consent are no longer realistic. This issue is compounded by lengthy and complex terms and conditions that are difficult for the average user to understand. As a result, users often lack clear awareness of how their data is being collected and used, undermining the idea of meaningful consent. Meta's predictive systems rely on historical behavior data, which can unintentionally reinforce existing biases. This creates risk of unfair or discriminatory outcomes in areas such as content visibility and advertising. From a GDPR perspective, this raises concerns around automated decision making and profiling. The regulation limits decisions made solely by automated systems that significantly affect individuals and require safeguards such as human oversight or explicit user consent. Meta's reliance on advanced analytics is central to their business success, but it also comes with serious ethical challenges. Addressing issues of bias, transparency, data protection, and user consent is critical not only for regulatory compliance, but also for maintaining public trust and Meta's long-term reputation. As analytics continues to evolve, so too must the ethical frameworks that govern their use. Next slide.
So for the marketing and customer analytics, Almost every consumer has an account with Meta, whether that be Facebook or Instagram, and the consumers can span an age range, and it's really designed for a broad range of users of ages. Next slide, please. So similar to the previous slides, the descriptive analytics essentially analyzes past marketing campaign performances. And so this can help just determine what marketing campaigns were successful, which ones could have used more content or could have been highly marketed more. And this would also compare performance versus Facebook and Instagram and which users are using each platform. Predictive analytics focuses on future outcomes. It predicts the outcome of an ad campaign. And basically, this is how the marketing teams can optimize their strategies for these campaigns. Prescriptive analytics uses analytics to determine the best possible action. And this helps identify the optimal solution before the full rollout of the marketing campaign. Next slide, please. So some of the marketing data requirements, they typically include likes, shares, impressions, how many users are actually viewing these types of ad campaigns. And based on the consumer's reactions, these can typically drive if the ad campaign is performing well or if it needs some more strategy and some more work on that. And Meta does track user behavior with ads. So that's something that they do take into account, and they take that data. Next slide. So some data challenges and privacy concerns. It's been mentioned, but user privacy is a main concern. Many consumers are being tracked by ads. There also is that public perception that their phone is listening to them. I think we've all seen that on Facebook or Instagram if you're talking to someone and then you just happen to see ads that show up the next day. And the other one is balancing data usage with customer trust. And that's basically something that Meta has to balance. How can they push ad campaigns while also keeping their consumers happy? Next slide, please. So for some resource requirements, they would need, on top of the data, they would need software engineering team, marketing and consumer relations team, regulatory and compliance team, physical hardware, and then they would need some artificial intelligence systems. And basically the AI would be in charge of pre-populating all the news feeds for each individual user. Next slide. The value realization. So basically, if an ad campaign does extremely well and the consumers are happy, number one, there will be increased revenue through the analytics that were used to prove out the ad campaign would be successful. If the consumer's happy, that makes Meta happy. It also improves brand reputations between different companies that are pushing their ad campaigns. It also creates better partnerships between the advertisers and the brands. And it secures future projects between all of these consumers and brands. And it kind of ties all three brands, consumers, and Meta together. Next slide. I think that's actually it.